welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing a full face of first impressions. Recently, if you live in Australia, you know that there was a Priceline sale. A few times a year they do 40% off all cosmetics, and I wasn't super excited about it this time because previously, before I went cruelty free, all of the products I would get would be from Maybelline, L'Oreal, Rimmel and CoverGirl mostly. So like I can't get any of them anymore, so I wasn't too excited about it. There's not an enormous cruelty-free range at Priceline, but there's NYX and Australis, so I was like, I'll go and see what I want. Usually I've got a budget in mind. I go there with like the items that I want and I calculate as I go, and I usually end up putting heaps back because I can't afford it. But this time I'm at a point, I've been working a lot, so I could actually afford to splurge a little. So I just threw everything in my basket and hoped for the best. I did not calculate anything because I knew that if I did, I would put stuff back and then I'd end up going and buying it like a few weeks later when it's not on special. So I thought I might as well just get it all, and then I can do like a cool haul video or like a makeup look using all of it. But I feel like it was worth it. I got a full face out of it and I quite like all of the products I got anyway. But anyway, if you would like to see how I got this look, then just keep watching. So I've already cleansed my face. I've like moisturized, used some serums. I'm going to start off with this Australis Midas Touch Serum Primer, because I feel like it'll be good to let soak into my skin before I do my base makeup. So I'm just gonna put this all over my face. It feels really nice. Alright, so I'm going to be doing my eyes first today because I'm not sure how much fallout the palette's going to give me. So I'm going to just quickly do my brows first. I'm just going to put some concealer around my brows because, I don't know, I just don't like the way my brows look if I just go straight in with brow products and not have any like concealer or anything around there. Also, the concealer I just used is the Essence Stay All Day 16 Hour Concealer. A tiny bit more on to cover some of these blemishes. And while I'm putting this concealer on, I might as well just bring it onto my eyes because that's what I'm going to prime my eyes with. I'm just going to use the NYX HD setting powder just to set down my concealer on my eyes. So the brow product I'm using today is the NYX Tame and Frame Brow Pomade. This is in the shade Espresso, so hopefully it's a nice match. It looks like a nice cool-ish toned brown, so we'll see. I prefer my brows being too dark than too light, so I thought I would pick up a pretty dark one. I'm just using it in Anastasia number 12 brush, I think. The writing has all faded off, so I'm pretty sure it's number 12. Alright, that colour is exactly what I wanted. It's a perfect colour. This pomade is really strange. Usually a lot of drugstore ones are like super pigmented, like the Chi one, the Colour Pop one. They're both like, you need the tiniest little bit. They're super pigmented and creamy, which is really not good for beginners because you're just going to have like a major Sharpie brow. You're much better off getting something like Anastasia pomades if you are new to using pomades. But this one is like less pigmented than the Anastasia one, which makes me think that it might dry up really quickly, so I'm a little iffy on that. But this one would be perfect for beginners if you've never used like a brow pomade before, because you won't go too overboard with it, especially with a dark color like this. Like I built it up a lot in the tail end, but it's still like relatively light in the start of it here, so I feel like this one would be super good for beginners. And I'm just going to set my brows with the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara. This is also in the shade Espresso. This seems like it's got pretty good holding power. Like when I brush some of these front brow hairs up, they like stayed in place, so I think it has really good staying power. But I also love that the wand isn't too big. That's my only complaint with the Anastasia ones, is that the wand is way too big and I always like smudge the outsides of my brows where I've already cleaned it up and everything. So I think I'm gonna love this brow gel. Alright, so the eyeshadow palette today I'm using is the NYX Avant Pop palette. This is the first one. There's a few of these. So far, just looking at it, my only complaint is that there's not many matte shadows, so I'm gonna have to like dip into other palettes if I want to create a full look using it. But it's like really affordable, so I'm not too bothered with that. I've got like a million neutral transition shades I can use anyway, so that's fine by me. I'm gonna start off with this matte like pinkish peachish shade, and I'm going to just run this through my crease. That is very not pigmented. Let me use a different brush. Yeah, that's definitely on my lid. I was hoping that would be darker so that I could kind of use that as a transition color, but that's like lighter than my skin tone. So I guess I'm gonna have to put this on the other eye just so that they both look even. Alright, so I think I'm gonna go in with this blue shade. I'm just going to start lightly and build it up as I go because I don't have any proper transition colors, so if I go straight in, this is going to be so hard to blend. By the way, I have never used any NYX shadows, so I don't know if these are the same as like some of their other shadows. I have no clue what NYX shadows are normally like. This isn't blending beautifully, but it's not blending horribly either, especially considering I'm going straight in with a blue shadow. Like that's always going to be a little difficult. So I'm not too unimpressed with it. It's decent. I'm not getting any type of fallout either, which is really nice. So I probably didn't need to do my eyes first. Next, I'm going to take this green shade and I'm just going to place this in the outer corner. I don't really know what I'm doing with this eyeshadow look. I'm kind of just making it up as I go. I expected this green to be a little more pigmented. It's like, because I already had the blue down, it's just like turning that outer corner into like a aqua kind of blue. So it's not super pigmented, but that's still fine. I'm gonna add it into my inner corner as well and make this kind of like a halo eye. This shade I did get quite a lot of fallout with, but I just wasn't careful with it because I don't have any foundation underneath, so I don't need to be careful. So I feel like if you do just tap off your brush before you go in with it, you'll be pretty good with fallout. Next, I'm going to take this magenta shade. I'm just going to pack this into the center of my lid. I did wet my brush before I went in with this because I just do that for all like shimmery lid colors that I use, but this is like super foiled. I didn't expect that. It looks like it has a really subtle shimmer, but maybe it's just because I wet my brush. I don't know, but it's like way more shimmery than I expected. Yeah, I think it is just because I wet my brush, because once my brush kind of starts drying out, it's not as pigmented. So this is definitely one that you kind of have to use with a wet brush. Just going back in with the brush I had the green shade on, just to blend these colors together. Just going to take this gold shade, just going to pack this right in the center just to give a bit more of a highlight in the center of the lid. Okay, and that kind of covered all of the pink. I'm going back in with the blue shade in the inner and outer corners because I don't quite have the depth that I want. This palette has too many light shades, I feel. There's not enough depth in it, so I can't really deepen up the inner and outer corners. Alright, I think I'm just going to leave the lid as it is for now. I'm going to do the rest of my face and come back to it because I'm kind of, I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to get my face makeup all on because then I feel like I'll have a better view of how it's all going to look put together. Alright, so my skin still feels nice and hydrated and slightly tacky from that Midas Touch primer. So now I'm just going to go in with my Australis See You Later Pores primer. I'm almost out of my NYX pore filler primer, so I thought I should pick up a different like pore filling primer this time. That did a pretty good job. It's not like the most intense pore filling primer, but it doesn't feel too heavy on the skin. It doesn't feel like it's gonna ball up and like separate when I put foundation over it, so that is nice. It doesn't look like my skin will be really flaky with it. The foundation I'm going to use is the NYX Total Control foundation. I've got the shade Light, so I'm hoping this will be alright. The lighter shade we have here is Porcelain, and I know that that would be way too light for me. And then the next one down seemed too pink, so I picked this one up because it's more on the orangey side, because I don't know, I just don't like super pink tones in my skin. I would prefer something that's on the orange side to something really pink. So I'm just gonna go in with this and see how it goes. Oh yeah, I feel like that's gonna be a really good match. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that match is perfect. Hopefully it doesn't oxidize. Yeah, I'm actually just gonna drop some of this straight onto my face. I just got some straight on my shirt. I'm loving the coverage of this. Like, I didn't even put like a ridiculous amount on, and I don't think I'll need much more to cover my blemishes and stuff. It's blending into the skin pretty nicely as well. I will go over with a blending sponge just to make sure it's all seamless, but it's not too bad just with the brush either. I'm just gonna put another layer on in areas where I need it. And in these areas where I need more coverage, rather than like buffing it in like I was before, I'm just stippling it in so I can get the most coverage in just those areas. And I'm just going in with my Real Technique sponge. Yeah, I really like the finish of this. I feel like this is going to be a little better for me in the summer months when my face is more oily, because I can see just like around my acne problem areas, it is accentuating the texture a tiny bit. Not too much, like I can still wear it when my skin is more dry, but I feel like it'll just perform a little better when I'm more oily. So under my eyes, I'm going to go back in with that Essence Stay All Day 16-Hour Concealer. See how the coverage goes under my eyes. I'm just gonna add it to these acne scars on my forehead, just because I didn't really get the foundation properly there. Once I blended that out, it's not too bad, but I just want to zoom you in here first. Look at how much that oxidized in the areas where it's kind of dried. Like, look at how orange that is. That is so bizarre, but it doesn't look orange where it's blended out and dried, so that is super weird. If I end up with super orange under eyes later though, I will know why. This concealer isn't too bad. I think I still prefer my Wet n Wild one, but this is way cheaper than the Wet n Wild one. I think it's like $6 or something, which is like super cheap for anything in Australia, so that is awesome. Although they've only got 2 shades and this is the darkest, so if you're any darker than me, you're not going to be able to wear it, which is like ridiculous. Alright, I'm just setting my whole face using that NYX HD powder that I used earlier. Okay, my pores look almost non-existent with this powder, so that is incredible. I really like the finish of this. I'm just gonna add a tiny bit to my Real Technique sponge and press that in. I expected it to leave like a white cast, or at least go like pretty cakey when I press it in with a sponge, but it still looks really good. That is awesome. I've been looking for a cruelty-free dupe to the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and I think this is it. Next, I am going in with my Physicians Formula Super BB Bronzer and what is it? Super BB All-in-One Beauty Balm Bronzer and Blush. This is super weird because this looks like a highlighting, like under eye setting shade or something, but like the tester that was in store, like when you rub at this, the pink shows through. So that's really bizarre, but let's give it a go. I'm just gonna use this bronzer to contour today. I normally really don't like contouring with bronzers, but I really wanted to try out a Physicians Formula bronzer because this is the first product I bought from them. And I figured I might as well get a bronzer and a blush because I wanted to do a full face of first impressions. This is probably a little too orange for my skin tone. It might be really good in summer, but right now it's just a tad too orange. It's not horrible though. Actually, that's really nice. I really like that. I've got this tiny little patch of acne here and it won't go away, and every time I put bronzer or blush over it, all of the foundation coverage that I had over that like lifts up. So it just keeps on showing and it's really frustrating me. It's been there for like a month. Alright, I'm just going to use the blush now. Just using the same brush just because they're going to be in the same area. That's a really nice, just like neutral pink blush. It's not too pigmented either, so I'm not going to go like full clown as soon as I put it on. I feel like this is going to be really good for traveling because I don't have to take like a separate blush and bronzer or anything. I quite like that. The bronzer blended out beautifully as well. So that is definitely a yes from me. Okay, I don't have a new highlighter, but I swatched this color in this Avant Pop palette and it looks gorgeous, so I'm gonna try using that as a highlighter. Ooh, that is really pretty. Because it's a shadow though, it is accentuating all of my skin texture there, so that's kind of annoying, but it still looks really nice. It is a little chalky though because it's a shadow, so I probably would not use this as a highlight all the time. Just gonna add some of that to my brow bone as well. And I'm also just gonna pop a little bit on my inner corners. Alright, so I've just cleaned up the edges here so it's more of like a harsh line. I'm gonna go into that green shade and I'm going to run this along my lower lash line. Okay, I'm pretty sure that green is just on the blue side and that's why it didn't really show up when I was putting it in my inner and outer corners. Alright, and I'm gonna take that magenta shade again and I'm just gonna go over the top of that on the lid. Putting that gold down was a mistake, so I'm just gonna put this back over it. And I'm gonna take my NYX Vivid Brights liner. I haven't tried these before, but I've tried the white one, so I'm assuming it's a similar formula. This is probably just gonna ruin everything, but I'm gonna see. Okay, my camera cut out, but I just did this like, I don't know, this line with yellow. I don't know how I feel about it, but yeah, it's there now. I'm gonna have to deal with it. I have incredibly shaky hands. Like, it's ridiculous how shaky my hands are. So I feel like I kind of butchered that, but I kind of fixed it. It's not horrible. Yeah. I'm gonna do like a kind of wing as well, just to kind of tie it in because I feel like it looks kind of weird right now. Actually, I'm gonna do dots. There we go. I like that. I'm much better at dots. I can't draw lines. Even when I'm doing art, I suck at line art because my hands are just so shaky. Might do a couple dots in here as well. Alright, I kind of like how that turned out. I'm gonna do this eye off camera so I can focus my hands a little more. Hopefully I won't completely destroy it. Okay, I quite like how that turned out. The liner is super crackly. I knew it would be though. I've seen so many people talk about how crackly it is, and I know the white one does the same thing. So that is kind of annoying, but I think I didn't do a terrible job considering how bad I am at that type of thing. So I'm happy. Before I do my mascara, I'm just gonna use this Australis Makeup Finishing Spritz. This is the matte one. I did try their original one, the one that was in like the pink bottle, but I don't feel like it really did anything to prolong my makeup wear, so I ended up giving that one to my sister. But I was going to pick up the NYX Matte Finishing Spray because I've used that one before and I love it. But this one was the same price and it's like double the amount in it, so I thought I would give this one a go. I love the spray head on it. It goes like everywhere. Alright, so the mascara I'm using is my Essence Lash Princess. If you saw my recent old drugstore video, I didn't have any drugstore mascaras, but I said that if I was to go and buy one, this would be the one that I pick up first, so I did. Last time I had it though, I had the one that had green detailing and it said like false lash effect, whereas this one says volume mascara, so I'm not sure if there's much of a difference. Ooh, the wand is different, but it's still not huge, which is what I'm after. I really liked the other one because the wand wasn't enormous or anything, so it was just easy to use. But let's see how this goes. This one is really nice, but I feel like the other one was a little easier to use. The wand was like, it was just my mascara that I would just pick up and put on like for work or something because it was so easy to use. I feel like this one is a little harder, but it's still really awesome. I've kind of been on a no falsies kick recently, so I'm just gonna leave this without falsies because I don't know, I've just been appreciating my natural lashes a bit more recently, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. Now this one isn't a first impressions, but I just picked it up in the Priceline sale anyway. This is the Essence lip liner in the shade Satin Mauve. This is like my all-time favorite lip liner ever. It is so good. The color is just perfect. I just love it so much, and I lost my other one. I have no clue where it is, so, but even if I find it, I'm happy to have a backup of them because these are like $2. Oh, I forgot just how much I love this lip liner. I feel like it's really easy to overline my lips with it as well. I don't know. It's just my favorite. Oh, I love it so much. And the lipstick I'm using today is one of these Australis liquid lips. I had tried the Velour lips by Australis and I hate them. They are so crumbly and dry. I picked up this liquid lips. I really like the packaging. It's like very Kylie-esque, but I'm gonna try this out. This is in the shade Pavlova. It's like Pavlova. Alright, I am loving the color. It is very similar to that lip liner, so I'm really glad I got this shade. It doesn't feel anywhere near as drying as the Velour lips so far. I feel like this might not dry down completely. I did like have a swatch on the back of my hand, and like when I washed my hands and stuff, it would rub around. So I feel like this might be really comfortable, similar to like the Ultra Satin lips by Colour Pop or something. It feels quite nice so far, so I'll update in the description box if like I have trouble with it throughout the day or anything like that. But yeah, that is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Overall, I really enjoyed most of these products. The palette is the only one that I'm kind of iffy on. The shadows aren't horrible quality. They're not the best I've tried either though. And it's just, there's not enough of a color selection for me to be able to use this like just by itself. This palette's gonna have to be an addition to other palettes, so that's kind of a bummer because I hate like mixing palettes and stuff, but it's not too bad. That's the only thing I was kind of disappointed with in this video. As usual, if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up so I know you did like it, and if you're not subscribed already, then you should totally do that while you're at it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.